Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking over your ideas for new Boon perks. A few days ago I put out a community post, challenging you all to come up with ideas for Boon perks. This was quite a tough one I feel, but there were some great ideas. Let's get into it. To start us off, we have a perk from Caleb Dufresne called Boon Backup Power. Generators within range of this totem cannot regress below 30, 35, 40%. Survivors can see the auras of all generators within the Boon's range. This is almost like an anti-ruin for survivors, stopping generators from regressing below a certain point, for gens in the Boon's range. I think this is quite fair. Killers can still get rid of this, and it caps at 40%. It's also a fair exchange of time. As you bless a totem, then you gain less regression when a nearby gen is broken. A similar idea from Eyrie Bad Time is the perk named Boon Hephaestus' Gift. When a generator is in range of a blessed totem, it will begin charging a protection gauge at a rate of 0.25 charges per second, up to a maximum of 30, 40, 50% of the generator's current progression. Protection gauge is indicated by a blue pulsating section of the progression bar. Generators affected by Hephaestus' Gift will emit blue sparks when regression meets the protection gauge. Hephaestus' Gift will gradually lose its effect on the generator at a rate of 0.5 charges per second after the Boon is snuffed. This is pretty similar, just with the extra nerf I guess of it being more of a slow build up and then a slow wind down after the Boon is snuffed. I think this gives it a little more of a benefit too though. I like the idea of the different coloured sparks and the whole idea of seeing how much protection you have remaining with a blue bar. For both of these though, I think there needs to be a cap of one gen instead of everything in the radius. That way you can't cover multiple. I think that's fair. I also really like the idea of the Boon effect persisting by making the gen regress slower after the Boon is snuffed. I think that makes this Boon a little more worthwhile. From Scrunchy Poo we have Boon Tough as Nails. While inside the Boon you recover from exhaustion 50, 75, 100% faster than normal, but the radius of the Boon is decreased by 18, 12, 6 meters. There were quite a few comments with this similar exhaustion cooldown idea. This is something I think will almost definitely come to the game. I think it's probably going to be more of a vigil effect though, with the Boon's radius, reducing the cooldown of all status effects. I don't mind this idea, and I like Scrunchy's suggestion of reducing the Boon's radius slightly as to not make this perk too powerful. In fact, I think that's something that every Boon should have, is some sort of prerequisite or nerf of some kind, mainly to the player. If it's giving such a powerful effect, I feel there needs to be some kind of small drawback, especially as you can apply the Boons over and over. Again, interesting idea and one which I think is almost certainly coming for Boons in the future. With the nerf of the reduced radius, I think it's quite balanced too. Next up from Lenum Pazbanol, I think, we have Boon Tamed Crows. Once a totem has been blessed, all crows within the area will remain calm if a survivor disturbs them. Additionally, if a killer disturbs a crow in the area by any means, their aura will be revealed to all survivors for 2, 3, 4 seconds. This one I personally really like. It's like a combination of Calm Spirit and Spies from the Shadows, but as a Boon. For that reason, I think it shouldn't reveal the killer's aura outright. It should have the same effect Spies does, which is like a sound bubble thing. Kinda niche, but quite interesting, and possibly quite confusing for the killer. From Walter Clements we have Boon Anti-Gravity. When falling from a great height, you no longer suffer from the stagger effect. All vault, locker entering, pallet dropping actions gain a 10, 15, 20% speed increase. I really love this idea. A minimal buff when within the area, but something incredibly beneficial when you know how to use it well. That's really what I feel Boon should be. These minimal buffs that can become considerable with some good placement and interaction. This could be amazing on indoor maps or Haddonfield say, that kind of place, where the stagger when falling can really slow down looping. The fast animations are nice, although I think the vaulting would have to be removed. A 20% faster vault is kind of insane, so I think either remove the vault part or reduce that number to 5 to 10%. From Gemerald we have Boon Destruction. When the killer breaks the Boon totem, it explodes, revealing their aura for all survivors within 32, 38, 42 meters, while also blinding and stunning them for 4, 5, 6 seconds. The totem breaks completely after being snuffed, so this is like Hex Haunted Ground for Boons. I like it, and I think the way it's done here is pretty fair actually. With the totem breaking upon being snuffed, this makes it like a Haunted Ground and Retribution crossover, where you see the aura of the killer and you stun them briefly. Also, the 42 meter range is going to make it so it's not even beneficial for some people. So yeah, I actually think this is fair, especially with the totem breaking upon being snuffed. This I could see being reasonably added, but with caution. From Bruce HC we have Boon Fight the Power. All forms of entity influence are prohibited while in the Boon totem's radius, i.e. blocking generators, blocking pallets, blocking vault locations. This is another one that feels like quite a fair way to introduce a boon. This could be a really interesting way for survivors to overcome perks like Corrupt Intervention, or Grim Embrace, or Thrilling Tremors say, which could confuse the killer a bunch. They could even use it to stop hexes like Blood Favor. Maybe there could be some kind of small nerf for it being able to do this, like a 5% reduction to gen speeds. If you can literally stop blocks, there needs to be something to stop you just from repeatedly spamming this. Quite an interesting one though. Maybe if slower gen speed is too boring, it could give you a higher amount of skill checks on gens that should have been blocked, something like that, although maybe that would be too beneficial for the survivor. From Sean Kerr we have Boon Immortal. They say this is basically a survivor version of Hex Undying, and if ran with another Boon totem, if the Boon totem is broken by the killer, the Boon will transfer to another totem, and the Boon that was broken by the killer will be destroyed altogether, making it to where hexes like Noed won't be able to spawn at that totem. I think this initially sounds quite OP, but I think the way they've described it makes it relatively fair. Again, I like that there's a consequence to this boon, in that it breaks the totem altogether, if the killer snuffs it out. The randomness of where the boon then moves is also kind of a gamble, so I weirdly think they've made this perk work quite well, despite it initially sounding quite unfair. Let me know what you think. I think a Boon Undying kind of thing done in this manner would be fairly reasonable though. Again, the boon would break the totem it was snuffed from when it moved, and you don't know if the new location is any good. Yeah, I actually think that's pretty balanced, for the trade-off of not needing to bless another totem yourself. Maybe there should be a mention of Boon Immortal not being able to overwrite hexes, only dull totems too. Once it's snuffed after moving, it should deactivate completely I think also. So it's a one use, one move thing. From Sir Hops a lot we have Boon Entity's Blessing. When in the boon's radius you suffer from the exposed status effect, but you run 10% faster. All action speeds will increase by 10% for survivors and 5% for killers. All blood point gains will be increased by 75, 100, 150%. This is a really cool high risk, high reward boon perk idea. Right off though, it's gonna need a nerf to the numbers I think. 10% faster movement is a lot. I think something like 5 is more reasonable. Then the blood point gains, I think the cap should be 100% maybe. I think that's a little more realistic. Really cool idea though, and I love the idea in general of boons being more like this. A high risk, high reward thing. At the moment they're basically just high reward, as you can bless an infinite number of totems. So this kind of thing I personally really like the concept of. From Rice, or Reese, we have an insanely cool idea. Boon Mirage. When the killer is in the radius of the blessed totem, they can see random trails of blood, as well as scratch marks and hear fake grunts of pain. If a survivor is within the blessed totem's radius, they become oblivious. Once out of the radius, this effect lasts for 6, 5, 4 seconds. Amazing idea and a fun way to introduce another deception perk for survivors as a boon. And again, I really like that there's a negative side effect with the obliviousness. I think that's important. This could create some really fun situations, allowing you to be stealthier or deceive killers mid-chase. Very interesting idea and something which could genuinely confuse the killer, which I think is pretty cool, especially as we have quite a few deception perks which are kind of Alright, well that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed, and be sure to drop your own thoughts on this and the changes you'd make to these perks, as well as the ones you like, down below. Thanks, and goodbye.